What is your name? What is your quest? I can't think of any better way to start off this whole discussion about developing a mission and borrow those couple famous lines from Monty Python's The Holy Grail. Today I have a couple of things I'm going to talk about when it comes to this idea of developing a mission statement. We're going to go through some characteristics of a mission statement, talk about how to develop one. But two things that I really want to get across in this presentation, because it's a very high-level overview. First is, I want to sell you on the idea that you need a mission statement. And the second is, what it is that you can do to help that mission statement come to life. So let me start there with that first idea. Why do you need a mission statement? Let me start with a personal example from my own life. This, for my wife and I, this is a mission statement on how to survive a trip to Polly's South, down Ferguson Road, grocery store, with two young boys, efficiently tear-free. Tears are from the adults, the kids. But we have here, aisle by aisle, where we can find all of our favorite products. We can check them off on a little box. We can go through as quickly as we possibly can. Let me ask you this question. How many people spend more time planning a weekly trip to a grocery store than the next year of their life? I know we have some people that are recently married, and I think about all that time you spend planning a wedding. How much time do you spend planning your marriage, the rest of your life? So I think when it comes to planning a mission statement, we need to think about those ideas. About thinking not just the moment, but thinking long term. And that's what a mission statement is designed to help you do. So let's start here with a few examples of some mission statements. Nike has a great mission statement. To bring inspiration and innovation to every athlete in the world. Do you have a body? You are an athlete. Doesn't Nike just want to run out there and do some exercise? Microsoft, our mission and values are to help people and businesses throughout the world realize their full potential. Of course, Toastmasters, all clubs in the international organization have this as their general mission statement. Provide a mutually supportive, positive learning environment which every individual member has the opportunity to develop communication, leadership skills, which in turn foster self-confidence and personal growth. Now, as Carl mentioned, recently Joy talked about the idea of a vision statement and how vision and leadership are linked. Now, vision and mission, kind of like you said, the two sides of the coin, they're very strongly related. And essentially, it's kind of like, they're kind of like opposite sides, pulling with each other. They're linked together on this chain. The vision side is this conceptual idea of where we want to be, to where we're going. The mission side incorporates these ideas of what is our identity, what is our purpose, what are we doing on a day-to-day basis. So if I go back to my Monty Python example, the mission part is Lancelot the Brave. It's who he is. It's his identity. It's about what kind of products he brings. What's his quest? Seek the Holy Grail. So it's very clear. It's wrapped up into your identity, this idea of mission. Where you want to go is the vision piece. Let's talk about some characteristics here of a mission statement. As I mentioned, it's kind of the foundation. It's your purpose, it's your identity. Also, it's going to explain a little bit of how you're going to serve your clients on a day in and day out basis. It's going to describe your products and services, competitive advantage, overall strategy for long-term success, expected level of excellence. So I get back to my Lancelot story here again. He's Lancelot the Brave. What is he going to do? His competitive advantage is he's brave. He's going to run into every castle he finds and start bonking heads so that he can reach his quest. He wants to get the Holy Grail. Bedivere the Wise, for those who've seen the movie, he's going to use all his scientific knowledge to kind of figure out how to get through each of the problems he comes across so he can eventually reach his quest. Courtyard by Marriott, they have an interesting mission statement that incorporates these ideas. In their mission statement, they talk about bringing this idea of almost like a luxury experience to a consumer that's sort of in the middle class, that's expecting just to pay a standard price for their stay. And so that it describes, like I say, the competitive advantage. We want to get this niche of customers. Is our strategy for long-term success? These are the products and services we're going to offer. They're not trying to be a luxury hotel. They're not trying to be a bargain budget type of hotel. but like I say, it describes a little bit about what their purpose and their identity is, so they can function in the best, most effective way to outcompete their competitors. All right, what a mission statement is not. It's not detailed, it's not narrow in its scope. You've seen some very general kind of ideas in some of the examples that we're saying. The idea here when you write a mission statement is that you don't want it to be too narrow so that it kind of stops creativity. You want to make sure there's room in there for growth and expansion as opportunities arise. On the flip side, you do want to make sure that it is specific enough. We'll talk a little about here as we talk about some of these other pieces. Your mission statement might define your competitive environment, the resources you need, how many team members you need. And so the mission statement needs to be confined enough that those pieces that are needed to achieve the mission are clearly defined. Because what's going to happen, and I think folks, especially here in the business world, encounter this. You started out in a project, you know what your mission is. And somebody says, well, can you do this too? Or can you add this little piece on there? And it just starts to grow a little bit and grow a little bit. We call that scope creep. And so if your mission statement isn't hard and fast enough and well-defined enough that it can keep expanding, then you're going to run out of these things. You're going to run out of your resources. You might say, hey, wait a minute, I don't have the team that I need to complete this. And we talked about all the different departments we have represented in here. And if I'm out doing storm inspections and a transformer falls on the ground, I got to call environmental. I got to get them involved. All of a sudden, my job has just changed. The scope of my job has changed. I don't have the resources. Back in my Python thing, resources meet, of course, for round table for nights. So be aware of that. Make sure that your team, if the scope starts to creep, go back to your mission statement, go to your supervisor, whatever group of people it is you're working with, and say, wait a minute, this mission no longer applies. We need to change the scope of our mission to take advantage of what's there. Okay, creating your mission statement. This is really important that you work with the other groups of people that are going to have an impact on this mission. And this can involve simply just yourself and the people that are around you in your personal life. But this mission statement can be written for any team or community group that you're a part of, right down to, of course, here at work, companies. So whatever group it is that you identify, get them together, brainstorm some ideas. As you brainstorm those ideas, people are going to buy in a little bit to what that mission statement is. They're going to start to become a little bit more emotionally invested in what that mission is, which is a real key piece. You also need to know, where does this group fit into the organization as a whole? What is this organization's values, its beliefs, its goals? That's going to be real key to make sure that your mission overall is going to move on ahead into what that organization wants to achieve. Values, beliefs, and goals are important. They're important because you need to prioritize them. When you look at the organization, you need to make sure that if they say, okay, this is a value, but can we push back on that value or not, or is it hard and fast? You're allowed to work with, say, foreign governments. We're talking about a lot of that in ethics for the company. And when I'm working with these people, what sort of a relationship can I have with the government entities? And if they say, well, I want to, for instance, foreign corruption practices becomes real key. We've talked about that a lot in our company. And making sure that we have an ethical standard. So you need to understand, okay, this is what I can do and what I can't do. Whether it's a value or it's just a belief, or it's just a goal, what sort of pushback is there that's going to allow me to achieve my mission? What's a hard and fast rule to make sure that I do it ethically? Of course, you want to go through a drafting process with your team as you work on this. Once again, can everybody buy in? There's a little bit more emotional commitment to that overall mission statement. As you go through each draft, you also want to evaluate it. Of course, in Toastmasters, we're big on evaluating, critiquing things so you get the best, polished, final product. So make sure that the values and beliefs fits within that, the goals fit within that mission, but also is this motivation that's going to make people want to act towards that mission. All right, at the beginning of my speech, I talked about this idea that I want to sell you on the idea that you need a mission statement. Here's this last piece about making it come to life. The first step, can't get away with this without doing this one, is putting it in writing. It's got to be on paper so that people can see it. 2 reasons. If you write something on paper, a goal, a mission, your chances of succeeding go from just from conceptually thinking about it to writing it, 50% better chance. If you actually write it on paper and people can actually hold you accountable to do it, you're up to like a 99% chance of success. So that's the first thing, put it in writing. The next piece is talking about it all the time. Leaders are communicators. You've got to be talking about the mission, explaining its benefits, talking about how the day-to-day activities help you accomplish that mission. We talk about the PEFD process here in the company, about line of sight to the company goals, things of that nature. Being enthusiastic about it. I saw in a LEAD presentation, back for those folks that might remember the LEAD training program, there was a video. And they had a plant manager in this video. And he really exemplified this idea of being able to communicate the mission. He took a plant that was really doing nothing and then turned it around. One of the things that he used to do is he had these sort of goal sessions with his employees. And the example that they showed on film was he was rewarding this one particular member of his team that found this creative way to solve a problem that would reduce the number of rejected parts coming out of the plant. And so he rewarded him, gave him some cash, talked about it, said that's the creativity that we need here, but also gave him the chance to talk about the mission, which, in manufacturing, it's no rejections, no rejections, no rejections. He literally repeated that 3 times. Gave him a chance to sell his mission into the people, get them involved, and see how they can do that. The third key piece to this communicating the mission and really making your mission come to life is not on this slide. It's kind of an X factor. And that is you as each individual leader. You're the X factor. People are going to buy into you before they buy into the mission. I think we can all think about all the times we walk into any building or any group that we're a part of, and you see mission statements up on walls. Doesn't change a thing. You've seen staff meetings where people talk about mission statements, and you hear presentations, maybe even great glowing ones. Well, this is the mission. It really doesn't make a difference. What makes kind of the X factor difference is what is going to hold those people into your relationship one-on-one as much as you can, those individuals, pulling them into that overall mission for which you want to accomplish. Again, the first part, can't get away without it, it's putting it in writing. The moment you complete this, you'll definitely get in concrete form with intangible desire. I like the way Zig Ziglar does this, says you can't be a wandering generality, you must be a meaningful specific. You can't just sort of walk around and say, okay, I'm going to go to Toastmasters today, I'm going to do something. It's like, no, I'm going to go to Toastmasters, I'm going to give a presentation. It's got to be specific. So that's the important 2 pieces, though, I really want you to take away with you. You need a mission statement. Whatever role in life it is that you have, it's yourself, your family, children, your job, community, organizations, needs a mission statement. And the last piece is make it come to life. Write it down, communicate it, be that X factor. Be involved with people that you're working with. Get them to buy your mission. Thank you. Madam President.